tutorial, and today I want us to concentrate on one very interesting aspect of our design. And I'm sure most of you have seen what we call CNC. CNCs are machine cut patterns. These can be done on either metal or they can be done on wood. Welcome. For us, I want us to do a pattern that looks like a reef. So at the end of the day, this is what we'll be having. And it's very important to note that what we have as highlighted here, this one in blue, this is what we call a row. And what goes downwards like this is a column. These things will become very, very important. Let's start our new drawing. Open the new object, go to parameters, and let's make it 1500 by 2000, and the depth, the normal size of our wood, let's give it 18, and then we'll need some parameters. From our discussion here, I've talked of columns and rows, so you can see we need to determine the number of rows that we need and the number of columns that we need. Come here and write n cols, or let's write the whole name, n columns. This is an integer, number of columns, let's put 10, then n rows, copy, paste, number of rows, let's put 8. You need pen, count pen. This is the color of the pen that we are using. Contour pen. I like using number 81. You need material. Let's call it frame mat. Use this frame, and I'll use wood, fine. Let's start with those and then we add some more. Go to 2D, like always, write project 23272. It will help us to see our 2D view whenever we draw. Then go to 3D. Today I'll be very brief. This is a very brief thing. The drill is having the subroutine. Let's do the subroutine 100 and finish the word key. And for us to see the subroutine, we need to write go sub 100 and then end, and you're done. Let's come here. Whenever you want to do a pattern that repeats itself in either the X or the Y, Z values, we'll need to use what we call a loop. For this case, we'll need 3 of them. One to cater for the columns, and another one to cater for the rows, and the third one is to clear all those multiplications. So let's get started. We use the for loop. I'll use the I for, we always say for I is equals to 1, 2. I'll first deal with the columns. So come here, check the number of columns. Copy this and paste here. And then within this loop, have the next loop. For use j is equals to 1, 2, the rows. And then we'll first work on the rows as we proceed to the columns. Whenever you want to do this kind of design that we have here, let me bring it here. This is it. We are drawing this design, and therefore I'll need to draw this. And for purposes of drawing such a CNC, we use what we call a cut poly A. When you're using the cut poly A, it comes with several parameters. The first one is N, which refers to the number of edges or points for the cutting object. Like for us here, the one marked with a blue is the cutting object. Then we go to the status, and for us we use 1 because we want the object to use the attributes of the body. That means the body is this big board that we have here. That's why we're using 1. Sorry, this one will determine. And lastly, we have D, which gives us a cut with an infinite object, and we normally use 0. From there, we can now define our object. Let's come here. This time we are starting at this point, which is 0, 0. So we have to determine this point is at what level all the way until we finish. In terms of x, this would be 0.018 at 0.018. In terms of y, it's 0, 0, and then there's a status. I can give 5. 5 is about visibility. Status is about visibility of the edges. Then you can come here, delete this. We need to get this curve. And normally, in order to get a curve, you need to determine the points, that is the x and y value, and also the angle. From this, let's highlight this. It gives us the center. Let's draw like that and like that. So this is our center point. Come here from 0 to here. It's 0.45, but negative 0.045, and our y value, delete this, is from here to here, 0.050, 0.050. But because this point determines a curve, we give it a status of 900. Then we draw the actual curve. We say 0 first, and then the angle that we need. Pick this one. Sorry, pick this. 77 degrees. So write 77. And this one we normally give it a status of 4007. Now, once we draw this point, let's delete this. This will take us to this point. So we don't need this point, but we need again to draw this other one. Again, let's highlight the center. It's here up to there. Again, determine the points. It's from here to here. X is 0.018, 0.018, and y should be the same as the other one, 50, 0.050, and the status is 900. And then we finish again with the actual curve. Let's get the angle. It's this and this. Again 77, which is correct. Now remove this. Let's push our points closer to the other ones, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 points. We've already done our cutting object. we need to determine the spacing between each object. In order for us to get the spacing between these objects, we have to consider the actual width of each object plus the spacing that we need for each object. And in order for us to get an accurate spacing between these objects, we need to do some maths. And these maths, we do it under master. Let's start with a comment. Let's find spacing between columns. And columns, remember, are running. We said these are the columns. They are running along the B value. No. The columns are running along the A value because it's along this direction. Come here and ask yourself, what total length are these columns taking? Let's write something here. Columns total length to be equal to, let's see, the length of each is from here to here is 35. Let's write it here. Let's write design width is 35. So copy this, come to the master. It's design width times the number of columns. You really need to do a lot of maths when you're doing these things. Even you're doing objects using the other methods, you do a lot of calculations. Let's ask ourselves, what is the available space? Available space after you've removed all of the columns total length. It's A minus this, and then we need to determine one more thing. These objects, as you can see from here, have an offset from the edge of, let me see, of 50. Come to parameters and include another parameter here. Let's say columns offset. There's the column offset and there's the row offset. For each I want 50. Let's give this 50 and 50. So when you're considering the total spacing that we have, you have to consider the column offset as well. So this plus that. Now this is the available total space that we need to share between all these columns. So again we say column spacing should be equal to available space divided by the number of columns. That is done. Copy this, paste here. This is spacing between rows, and this is easy now. All you need is to interchange things here, but for design width it's not correct because we are now dealing with the height of our object, which is 100. Come here, parameters, and consider writing here design height. Copy, paste, this is 100. So copy this, go to our master, and this is it. Design height n rows to give us B. This time we are going in the opposite direction, B, so that you have this here, and here it's rows offset. I hope it's correct. Row offset, row offset, row spacing. A variable space is equals to n rows. Perfect. Now remember, spacing for the columns is around the x value, so we'll need the width of the object plus the spacing. Let's come here, right, add x design width plus the column spacing. Perfect, we are doing well. And then finish the J loop with next J, and then delete. Remember, we are doing this number of rows, you need to delete. Come and say delete this number of rows. We are now into the I loop, and we start this by adding the spacing again between each row. So instead of add x this time, we'll use add y. Remember, we said it's the height plus row spacing. You can copy that and edit. Row spacing, and then finish the I loop with next I, and then delete all these columns that we have here. And this time we don't use the delete n rows, we'll say delete ntr into bracket -1. You need to read about this. And below here, this is where you add the offsets. So add column offset and the row offset. And I've never known why, but you need to put them as negatives and then finish with the status of 0. From here, we now add our object, the main object, which is our board, this whole board. And remember, for anything square, we use the word prism. Square, rectangle, prism. It will have 5 sides, and the height is this one, z, y, zx. And we are starting from point 0 here. So point 0, come here, go there, and finish. So our first point is 0, 0, and a status of 15. The second point will be A, 0, 15. Third point is A, B. Remember, we're using Cartesian, so it's easy to follow. 0, B, 15. And then finish with the first point here. And put this as -1 to show that's the end of your prism. And then now we do the third loop, which you cancel all of this, and we call it for k is equals to 1, 2. A multiplication of the number of rows multiplied by the number of columns. And then for any cut policy, we use the keyword cut end to show that's the end of cutting. So cut end, and then finish with next K. Let's check for errors, missing parentheses. Let me check where the error is. I've checked out the mistake that I've done. This part has an error instead of a point. We have a comma, so let's put a comma. Check our script. Okay, let's see the magic that we've done. This is it. We have a small error because this design should fit all the way to the end, and after checking it out I realized we made a small mistake here. We should first deal with the x value, then the y value. The x value represents the rows that we have, these ones, while the y is the columns. Write rows, and this becomes the columns. Make sure that you delete the same down here, like that, and we can check it out. Still needs to fit all the way up. I have a shortage of 1 because under y we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yet we've specified 8. I'll need to check on that error. But basically, this is how you prepare your CNC. Now let's make it more colorful. We need to specify first the pen, which is count pen. Then we need to specify the material, which is material framework. You can see it has changed. This is it. Then remember, this is lying on the horizontal plane. We need to raise it up to be vertical. Come here and add rotate X 90 degrees and make sure that you delete. You can also use delete top. Yes, like that. And it's now standing upright. Now the number of designs on these are quite minimal. We can make it colorful by adding more. Let's come here and make this, let's say 15, and this, let's make it 13. It's memory consuming, so be wary of that. Just look at the design. Let's increase a bit. Let's make this 18 and this to 15. There you are. Can do render. Let me prepare the rendering first before doing the render. Go to the settings. This is okay for environment. Let me remove the sky. For effects, just put caustic. Ramps, I know we don't have. Just tick them and add a bit here. And then let's render. Let's do the rendering. Ain't that beautiful? Thanks for your time. Thanks for taking time to listen. Make your comments down there. Subscribe. And let's look forward to another great tutorial next time. Thank you.